Okay, let's get started, guys. So I'm your trainer for the Google Cloud platform, and I have total like 8 years of experience into development, and I'm a Google Cloud certified data engineer and Google Cloud certified architect as well. And I have experience in building many data pipelines on Google Cloud platform, both streaming, batch, and many things on Google Cloud. So first understanding your first I want to understand your what is your knowledge on Google Cloud and etc. and cloud so that I could take it from there. Like, what do you understand, guys, from the cloud when you say the word cloud? Anyone can answer it. You thought step back. There's no wrong answers. What is cloud basically? Should I take names then? Like, it, I want it to keep more interactive, guys, so that you can benefit more from this. Anita, do you want to take? Okay, Gautam. What is cloud from your
Yeah,
understanding?
actually, previously we had on premise. Now,
Hmm.
coming days, everything we are moving into cloud. Like, it is like we are getting services for the thing like what other service we are gonna pay for that, and we will be using those things in
Yeah,
our
you're
modern.
absolutely correct. Right. So earlier, like 10 years back, what would happen is companies used to maintain their own infrastructure. Uh, the many vendors such as Wipro or TCS, they used to maintain the servers, and they used to operate. They used to have a bare metal system on which they used to install the virtual machines and install the operating system and then the applications. And they used to maintain about the patching and the maintenance, etc. Everything used to be maintained by the on-premise engineers. So now what happened is Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, they came up with a public cloud where they are going to maintain the infrastructure for you, and you have to just pay for the infrastructure. Like, earlier, back in the old days, when Wipro or any other these persons used to maintain your infrastructure, even that was called as a cloud as well, but that was a private cloud where it is only confined to them and it doesn't interact with the other systems. Whereas if someone else is maintaining your infrastructure, that is called as a public cloud. I hope this difference is clear. Okay. So now GCP is a public cloud offering from Google. Like AWS is provided by Amazon and Azure is provided by Microsoft. GCP is provided by Google. So the next question would be why GCP? There are multiple clouds, right? AWS, Azure, and GCP. So we have chosen GCP, and that's why we are attending this session. So why GCP? Anyone? Why are you attending this GCP session?
We have a requirement actually in the recurrent project, right? They're planning to use so that I wanted to learn. That's why I chosen GCP.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Actually, I have worked in the GCP, but it is like uh, in my current project, I have worked only in the visualization part, like Looker Studios. So we'll be getting everything like we have used uh, PODS like for the extraction purpose and all. Only in the visualization part we have worked in the Looker Studio. So I want to learn the overall flow. That's why I'm interested in it.
As I think GCP is a powerful cloud service, and also it is supported big data, and also it is extracted many the cloud data from Google and also supported Look Studio such as Look Studio, and due to this it is a powerful cloud services.
right. Any final words, Anirudh?
I think some of the services when we compare to AWS and Azure, they'll they have the high performance with the low cost. I think, for example, BigQuery and all this stuff. So
Right. That's a very good answer, I would say.
yeah.
So our main purpose, right? We want to learn GCP or any other service such that we could utilize the technology and that could help us in our career and also to grow. Correct. And GCP as an offering is growing year on year, like 10% growth in the market share. Okay. So AWS is leading because it's been in the market since a long time, and Azure is also there for a long time. GCP has been like 7 to 8 years, but it's holding now a lot of market share now. It's growing very rapidly, and you'll find many AWS or Azure resources very easily, but GCP resources are very hard to find, and certified resources are people are very less. So GCP learning GCP would like add more potential to our resume. That's why we are trying to understand GCP. And not only that, many of the clients are heavily investing on the GCP to use the GCP services, uh, such as Lloyd Bank, HSBC, American Express, Nike, Adidas, and many of these clients. And not only this, there are many healthcare clients, CVS Pharmacy and Prime Therapeutics, etc. All these clients are using GCP services. And being said that, it means that we have some good potential in the GCP and good future there. That's fine. And GCP services, if you see, mostly there are like in offerings of the open source things. There are many services like you might have heard about Dataflow. Dataflow is a service which GCP offers, and it's built on Apache Beam, which is one more open source, and it's very popular. And Dataflow is just like a wrapper around it, and you'll be able to use it. And you might be familiar with the Apache Spark, PySpark, or the Hadoop, right? GCP has a service which is called Dataproc, where you'll be able to use all those already written on-premise Spark jobs. And BigQuery, as you guys mentioned, it's a warehousing tool, and you'll be able to store petabytes of data and do analytical work on top of that. And Looker Studio is easily integrated with a BigQuery that helps you to build a dashboard. And not only that, it's very hybrid, I would say. Uh, Now, most of the companies nowadays, they want to utilize the best of all the cloud offerings. So they would say, I want to use something in the AWS, and I want to use some other service in the GCP. They want to use Snowflakes and do the processing on the GCP using Dataflow. Even that's supported. So most of the companies are going for hybrid architecture. In that sense as well, GCP is much more relevant to us. So as I mentioned, GCP has multiple offerings. They provide infrastructure as a service where we use their infrastructure and run our jobs. So when I say infrastructure, they provide us a compute engine instances, order storage, Google Cloud Storage, etc., which we use them. And they also provide platform as a service. All right. And so these are like, there is some services such as Cloud Run or these kind of things, CDN. These comes as a platform as a service where you use them, and GCP itself maintains the infrastructure as well. They maintain the scaling and creating the compute engine instances behind the scenes, etc. So as a part of this course, we are going to understand many of the data engineering, what are the offerings provided by the GCP. Okay. In this course, we are going to mostly concentrate on the Google Cloud Storage, which is also called as GCS. And we are going to discuss about Dataproc. So Dataproc is like you want to run any Hadoop jobs on cloud, on GCP cloud, you go with Dataproc. So it's a managed instance of the Hadoop cluster. And along with Dataproc, we are going to discuss about the data flow. It's a very powerful processing tool which is used by many companies as well. We are going to discuss about data flow as well. And we are also discuss about BigQuery to store the data and write the SQL queries to interact with. And we are going to discuss about PubSub. So it's like event-based system where events would be published to the topic and you'd be reading them. It would be mostly used for streaming data. And in this particular class, we are going to discuss streaming as well. How the streaming jobs would be built and how would you consume data from the PubSub and how the real-time streaming analytics would also be performed. We'll also be discussing. And we would be also be looking at a Looker to see how the dashboards are built. So, and we'll be using what are the offerings from the Google in terms of AI as well. Why most of the clients are shifting to Google is because Google is very much ahead in offering the AI services. That's why like Google has a Vision API and they have Vertex AI. Due to all these services, most of them are bending towards the Google. We'll look at a Vision API, how to use that, how to integrate with your jobs, etc. So let's get started. So before understanding anything on the GCP, first we need to have the GCP account, right? So how many of you guys have a GCP account? Can you quickly tell me, guys? If a lot of people don't have and don't know how to create a GCP account, we can quickly create one so that others can follow and create, because this is very much important to follow and do the hands-on. Anirudh, Gautaman.
I don't have any GCP account, Mitansh.
No, I too don't have.
Okay. I would need help from you guys. If someone can share your screen, I can direct you guys because I already have a one, so I can't create a new one. I can guide you guys to create a one GCP account. Others can follow that process. So who is willing to share your screen?
I can't share my screen, Mitansh. I'm actually attending some mobile. So
Okay. Anyone else? It seems most people don't have. Okay. And Anirudh, have you raised your hand?
no, it's just a mistouch.
Uh, Kiran, can you? Gautaman?
Not connected from phone.
Yeah, I too connected by phone only.
Okay. Rege? Uh, Anirudh, someone message I can. Anirudh.
I think there are two Anirudhs, so that might
Okay,
be the
that
conflict.
Anirudh. Can you unmute yourself? Yes. Anirudh, can you unmute yourself so that we could hear you and you can share your screen? Maybe you can rejoin back to the call. And Shiva, Sri, anyone? Okay, if not,
Sorry,
we can just share.
I joined late. I joined late. Okay, tell me what I have to do.
Uh, do you have a GCP account?
It's expired actually, so I didn't get a chance
Okay.
to.
Okay. So to do a hands-on, we need a GCP account. So what I'm saying is we need to create an account now. If not now, maybe by tomorrow, so that you guys can follow and do the hands-on along with me in the class. So guys, I'll quickly show you guys like how to create a GCP account. Okay, and then you can do it later and try to create it by tomorrow. So what you guys need to do is you need to go to console.cloud.google.com, and this would take you a Google sign-in page. You can create an account for personal use.
Mitansh, am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible now. Would you be able to share your screen now?
Yes. Is it visible?
Yes, you are. So you need to go to console.cloud.google.com, console.cloud, cloud.google.com. Do you have the credits available for you?
Actually, I had completed my free trial. I will try to create new one.
Okay. So guys, what we need is you need to create a new Gmail ID. If you have existing one which is not used, we are fine with that. But if you already used your Gmail ID for signing up to the Google Cloud, create a new Gmail ID, and you would need a credit card to register for the GCP, so that it could enable billing for you. But don't worry, you will be provided with some amount of $200 of like credit, where you can do all the practice and all the things. So okay, Anirudh, let me share my screen.
Mitansh, can we use same
Yeah,
credit card with a different Gmail?
I don't think so. It will allow. I think you could also use a debit card as well.
Debit card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just need to provide the details and uh, get a Gmail address and just give the password. Okay. Once you create your account, then it would ask you to provide the credentials. Seems I can't create now. So once you have created the account and provided your credit card details, try to do it, guys. If you face any problem, then we can try to create the account in the next class. So once you have account created, you'd be seeing the console like this. When you go to console.cloud.google.com, a welcome page would be created. So this is called the console, GCP console. Okay. So we need to understand few of the important things before going any further. Okay. Uh, let me share my PPT and we'll discuss like what is the organization folders and what is a project and what is the different regions and zones in GCP, and then go with some of the hands-on. Okay. So guys, when you work for a firm, right? When you work for a company, a organization would be created to you guys. You and you will not be creating any organization or a folders or a project. They will be default created, but you need to understand these things so that you will be able to traverse the GCP easily. Organization nothing but a company. It would be like if you're working for like let's say Deloitte, Deloitte.com would be your organization ID. and that would be the topmost. Okay, and all the things such as the folders or the projects or any of the resources that you create would be part of the organization only. It's a root node. That's what we would say. Okay, and any permission or the policy that you apply at the organization level, if you say a user is provided as a compute admin role, admin permission at organization level, then he would have access to all the folders and the projects, etc. So basically, all the permissions would not be given at org level. They would be managed at a project and a folder level. So, and there could be multiple folders, like how we create a folder, right? We create a folder to group the files together. That's how our folders would be created, and there could be multiple subfolders as well. Uh, Here you can see example, right? So there are two departments in a company. You want to create two separate folders, and each folder can also have separate permissions. And project is nothing but to work on the GCP, you need to have a project. Most of the companies, they create different projects. Let's say they want to have all the processing on one of the project. Okay, so all the processing things such as running of the data flow or the data prop or any of the processing will be done on one project, and all the storage will be done in different project. The GCS or the BigQuery, everything will be done in a different project. Why they do this is because they want to maintain it separately, so that they could track the cost. Okay, and while you create a project, every project is given a unique ID. You need to select a project name. Along project name will also be unique. Along with that, the project ID will also be unique, and GCP ensures that one by comparing all with all the projects that are already created. And all the resources that you would be creating will fall under the projects. Any questions in this one, guys?
Uh, as part of data engineering, what are all the components we have to use mostly?
You will be using GCS, Dataprop, Dataflow, BigQuery, PubSub, these things.
Okay, cloud functions also.
Cloud functions as well, and along with that, Cloud Composer as well. But you need to understand these things. So once you understand this, right, you need to understand what is a region and a zone, because there are few services which are high. You need to understand what is high availability and what is multi-regional, so that you will be able to answer them in the interview or anything. Okay, that's why we are discussing these things. Are we good with these organization folders and what is a project is?
Yes, yes.
I think we are good. So next thing is what is a region and what is a zone in GCP? Okay, so a region is nothing but a geographical area. Uh, if you see here, Delhi, Mumbai, and Hong Kong and Taiwan, there are multiple regions across the globe where GCP hosts their services. Okay, so and all these regions are interconnected to each other. Google has laid fiber optic cables uh, throughout the ocean and everywhere, so that they could communicate with each other regions with less latency, I would say. Okay. As of now, there are many regions and zones. So let's quickly understand what is a region, zone, and multi-region is, and then we can go to GCS next. So first we'll understand what is a zone. Okay, zone is a data center, guys. Nothing more than that. It's a highly secured environment. It has its own power and it has its own network system where all the servers, etc., would be maintained. You could see there are multiple zones in a region: US West 1A, US West 1B, US West 1C. These are multiple zones. So, guys, GCP, let's say example, GCP has their uh, zones, regions in Mumbai. Okay. So when I say Mumbai, they don't have presence only in one area. They would have presence in 3 or 4 places in Mumbai. Okay, so that's why they would say US. Let's say Mumbai would be some uh, Asia, India one or something, and each zone would end with -A, -B, and -C. Okay, so whenever you see something ending with an alphabet, that is a zone. A zone is nothing but a data center, and region is nothing but a collection of zones is called a region. US West one, US Central one, these are called as regions. Okay, and each zone, like the communication within a zone is very fast. Communication within a region is also very fast, but there would be some little latency. That's what I would say. When we speak about multi-region, right? Your data or any application, you're asking GCP to deploy it to multiple regions. Let's say you want to deploy to US West one and also to US East one, so that in case of any disaster, you'd be able to still have your application up and running. Here, the GCP high availability and resiliency, how can you quickly recover from a disaster, and disaster recovery, all these things come into picture. So multi-region is nothing but you are asking the GCP service to run on multiple regions. So as of today, GCP has 40 regions, 121 zones, and 187 different locations, and in 200 different countries. So one important question, guys. So interviewer sometimes would ask you, how do you select your region or a zone? So if your application is running in, let's say in Asia or India, and your user base is from India, and you need to select Mumbai as your data, as your region, and you could select some other region nearby, such that you can still have the replication, etc. But your region should be very much near towards your users to provide them the low latency. Okay. Uh, let's say if you are from US, and if your user base is mostly towards the West Coast, then you need to select US West one as your region. And you can select US Central one to have a additional backup. That's how you need to select the region and the zone. There are many services like people, when you go for interview or something, they would ask you, okay, data flow, what is the region that you have used to deploy your service? If something happens in your region, how do you fall back to a different region? Is BigQuery a multi-regional or a single region? Where was your data set located? These kind of questions are very much expected, and these questions are to test your practical hands-on on GCP. So I would be covering a lot of questions like this throughout the course to help you understand how what to expect from an interviewer and how you can answer them. So any questions in the region, zone, and the multi-region?
When we use on-premises code to deploy to cloud, so we have to select Mumbai only, right?
It's not essential. It depends on the client, I would say. See, where your data is also important.
Yeah, for the lower
So,
environment, you can use local, right?
it depends, I would say. So let's say now there are many compliance also that comes into picture. Uh, let's say if you're dealing with a lot of patient data or a PII data, US would not allow you to store any PII data outside the US. Okay, you need to ensure that you are following that compliance and saving that in the US itself. There is something called the HEPA and all this compliance. So based on the data also you need to choose. For the testing purposes, you can choose anything, but actual in the production environments, even you would not be given that choice. It would be at the organization level itself, which location would be used.
Okay, got it.
But we would like to
Choosing the region, zones, and is there any price involved for the lower environment testing?
Yes, it would be involved. Yes, it would be
So,
involved.
okay. So, is it possible we can work on lower environment, choosing local regions and higher environment? Is there any load testing will be like, I mean, if we are able to check the data volume, obviously in production the data will be more and lower environment, like we use to test the data. So how do we justify that actually?
No, what happens in the project scenarios is you would stick to one region and ensure that all your setup follows the same thing. You can't, they would not prefer to change that way. But you can, for testing, you can, like for our learning purpose, you can choose any, but in actual production or in actual companies, they would stick to one region or a multi-region. If they are like, if you're working for US company, they would say, I want to go with a US central one. and they would have their all the data sets or whatever the compute they are using. They would deploy in US Central, and they would have US West one as their stand-up region where they want to fall over if there's any disasters. That would be decided.
Okay, by choosing
Yes,
this,
even while testing.
is it in our control or any DevOps team will control this all?
DevOps team will control this all.
Okay.
But as an engineers, we need to know what services are multi-regional, what services are regional. These things we need to understand. So while I'm speaking, I would say GCS is a multi-regional. You'll not be able to understand that easily, right? That's why I'm explaining these things.
Got it.
Okay. Then we'll move ahead now. Okay. So we'll start with the Google Cloud Storage. Today we'll have the introduction. Okay. So most of you guys might have used Google Drive, right, etc. So Google Drive, you store the photos of yours or the videos, etc. So all these photos would be stored by Google at some place, right? So that is nothing but a Google Cloud Storage. So AWS also has something called as S3. So what we can say is Google Cloud Storage is nothing but an object storage service where everything that you store on a GCS is nothing but an object for it. It doesn't differentiate whether it is text file or a photo or a video. Everything is an object for Google Cloud Storage. And GCS can load large amount of data, even terabytes and petabytes on it. Okay. And the data is very easily manageable. You can download anytime, you can delete the data, and like it's highly scalable, right? You can store any number of data. You can, but there is no limit. Okay. Like any hard disk, if you have bought any hard disk, it would have some 32 GB, 64 GB, but it's highly scalable. You can store up to any hundreds of GBs of data. And Google takes care of the security, who can access the data and who cannot access. It's highly secure. And GCS makes sure that this particular GCS is highly available to you. And it's very cost effective as well. Okay, these are the important features of Google Cloud Storage. Like people will not ask you what features of the GCS, but it's better for us to know these things. And why do we use the GCS in most of the projects is the incoming data from multiple clients or anything, right? We want to store the data in some landing location. So GCS is mostly acting as a landing storage for you guys. The data from multiple customers or anything, data ingestion team, they would be giving the data to your cloud storage. It is a landing location from where you need to process it. So landing storage is one important. And next one is the storage of the backup. Let's say you have done some processing or you want to backup your data something. You can back up your data in a cloud storage. You can archive it. You don't want to use it most frequently. You can archive it and recover the data at any point of time. And media content storage and delivery. Let's say and Netflix, right? Netflix or Amazon, they want to provide their data. They want to stream their data. Where do they store their videos or anything? They store it on a GCS, and from there they will be serving the data. So GCS is used for the media content storage. And any images such as Instagram or Facebook or anything, if they use a GCS, you'll be able to use that. And data lakes and big data analytics, like data lakes, it's a lake where you dump all the data, and then you derive the input analytics or insights from out of it. So you can dump any data to GCS. And if you're using machine learning or the AMI, you can also store your model data on it. And one other use case is hosting a website, right? You can also host your website, a static website on the GCS buckets. Okay, that's some introduction about the GCS. And there are multiple options, guys, while creating the storage bucket. One is a standard storage. What happens is when do you want to go with standard storage is for the data which is more frequently accessed, okay? And if it's very critical applications to you, and if you want to be the data to be highly available, then you go with the standard storage. And if you see the availability of the standard storage is 99.119, guys. So that much availability the GCS provides you. Nearline is nothing but you store very infrequently accessed data, but you want it to be available high. You want highly available and like more frequently accessible to you. It would provide 99.95 availability. And cold line is you want some infrequently accessed data and still want highly durable. You can go with the cold line storage. You can go up to 99. It provides 99% availability. Archival storage is you don't access the data more frequently and you want to keep your archive data somewhere. You can go with the archival storage, and Google provide 95% annually. Uh, these storage options help you to optimize the cost, guys. So most of the cases you would be seeing the standard storage only in the projects, where in your day-to-day, where your input data would be coming and you'd be processing, right? You'd be seeing the standard storage only. The old data, which is already processed, etc., what you would do is you don't want to spend a lot of cost for storing that data. Then what you could do is you can move the data to code line storage so that you would be billed less. Okay, that's why there are multiple storage options available to you. And we'll quickly see a demo. How do you create a bucket, etc. These things will be much more clear to you guys. Okay. And there is one more important concept in GCS, which is called as object lifecycle management. This is very important question, and you can expect this in the interview as well. People will ask you, what about archive data? How do you archive data in GCS? You need to take a pause and understand a question and give the answer. You would configure object lifecycle management in GCS such that all data previous to 1 year, you want to move to a different bucket, which is a code line storage, etc. It also allows you to delete objects created before some period of time. And one more important feature of GCS is you can create multiple versions of the same object. Let's say you uploaded one file, abc.txt, and if you are uploading one more file, updated content with the same file name, what GCS does is it creates a new version of the object. So GCS also has a versioning, and you can control it whether you want to have how many versions you want to keep, etc. So these are the most important features of the GCS. Now we will quickly move towards the demo. Okay, how to create a bucket, etc. Okay, any questions, guys? If you guys are not speaking, you can give a thumbs up. Okay. Anything so that I could know that you guys are good. What about others? Kiran, Gautaman, Sri, Shiva, and Hegayu? Okay. Okay. So once you're on the GCS, the GCP console, right? To go to Google Cloud Storage, you would see the navigation menu here, and all the services which are part of the GCP would be listed in here. So under this, you would be seeing multiple like serverless, distributed cloud, etc. compute, many things. You'd be seeing storage. In the storage section, you'd be seeing cloud storage. In cloud storage, you can select the buckets. If you don't want to scroll through here, you can also simply search the storage here, and you can select the buckets. It would select you the main page. And before that, guys, I forgot to mention this. So by default, a project would be created to you guys by default one. I would suggest you guys to create a new project. The process to create a new project is once you click on this drop down, it will list you all the projects to which you have the access to. And here you'd see a new option, create new project. And here you can specify what is the project name that you want to use. So if you see here, you can specify any project name. Let's say Visualpath project 416315. It depends. You can select your project name, and the project ID GCP creates automatically. And if you're, I haven't created any organization, but if you are working for a firm, the organization would be created. Once you create a project, right? a new project would be created. And you can select the project. And this is the homepage of the GCS where you'll be able to create the buckets. So to create the first bucket, you need to click the create button here, and it would open this particular form for you guys. Okay. First, bucket name would be unique and it is permanent. Okay. Once you've created a bucket, you'll not be able to change the name of the bucket. And there's some naming guidance as well. Let's say for now we want to create a bucket. Okay. First bucket. Let's say if I say first, it would definitely say this bucket name is already taken. Let's say first bucket, Visualpath, and let's say 4156157, and that would be your bucket name. And labels is nothing but most of the companies use it to differentiate, let's say environment, whether it's a dev environment or a prod environment, etc. kind of thing. And multiple labels would be associated. Let's say which team is using it. If the accounts team is using it or the analytics team is using it, you can multiple labels would be created. Once you have selected the bucket name and added the labels are not mandatory, they're optional, but it's good. It's a good practice to keep the labels. Okay. Once your bucket name, click on continue. Here, GCP asks you, whether how do you want to create the bucket, whether you want a multi-regional or dual regional or a regional. In the same multi-regional, GCP stores the data, whatever you upload, to multiple regions in the US, or you want Asia, etc. You can also specify dual regions. So if you want to go with Asia specific, what regions you want to store the data to? So if I want to store between Asia East one, in Asia East one and the Southeast one, it's allowing you to create in these two regions. Okay. In this way, you can select a dual region. So here you will be able to see what cost does take for storing the data. Okay. So mostly you'd go with a multi-region, or if you don't feel your data is not much important, you can go with a single region as well. For now, I'll go with a multi-region, and let's say I'll select Asia, click on continue. And next is a storage class. I explained you guys about the storage class, right? The standard one, nearline, code line, and archive. For now, we'll go with the standard one. So auto clause is something new in the GCS, where GCS automatically takes care of the old data. And for those objects which are older than 1 year or not frequently accessed, GCS automatically changes the class of those particular objects. For now, I'm selecting the standard. And this is choose how to control access to objects. So whether you want this database to be publicly accessed, or you don't want people to keep it private or private, you'll be selecting all those. And how do you want to provide the permissions? Uniform is nothing but you will be using the GCP IAM, which is Identity and Access Management, to control access to this GCS bucket. Most of the developers would not deal with this, so I'm going with the default options here. And how to protect the data, like as I mentioned you guys about the version control, for restoring deleted files, or you want to override an objects, and let's say you have realized that you want an older version of the object, GCS allows you to create the maximum versions of the object. So here you can specify how many versions. So mindful that when you're creating the multiple versions, the amount of charge that you have to pay, earlier it was 0.22, now it changed from 0.22 to 0.26. Okay, so you can specify the maximum number of versions that you want to create. Intention is nothing but if someone accidentally deletes the data, you don't want that to happen. So what happens is enable object retention is you'll not be able to, once a file is created, you'll not be able to delete it immediately. That's about a retention. And data encryption is important. So all the data in GCS will be encrypted by using Google Managed Encryption Key. Okay, so Google is responsible for managing the key, and it takes care of rotating, like changing the key on frequent basis. Most of the customer, if they are dealing with most of the PII data, they would go with the CME key. where they would create their own key by using their own encryption key, and they provide it. Okay, but our purposes, we can go with the Google Managed Encryption key. But you can expect this question in the interviews. What is the encryption that you have used? You can mention to them that you have used the Google Managed Encryption key for a few of the tables where it was highly sensitive. Customer managed, we have used a CMEK. Okay. So once you have selected all these things, you can click on create. Okay. Public access would be prevented. I'm okay with it. So now you see the bucket created here. To access the bucket, you can just click on that and you are inside the bucket now. You can create a folder, upload folder or anything. Let's say I want to upload one file to a GCS. I could select upload files. Let's say now I'm selecting this. So it would upload the file. It is very simple to upload the file to GCS, and if you can create a folder, etc. Any questions still here? Okay. So most of the times while you guys are working with a GCP, you'd be also using the Cloud Shell. So what is Cloud Shell? Cloud Shell is nothing but a computer engine instance where it acts as a workspace for the developers. You will be able to write all your code on the Cloud Shell. Okay, and it also provides a CLI interface to you, and also a workspace. You'll be able to create the files and write the code, etc. So to access the Cloud Shell, you just have to create this Cloud Shell icon here to open a Cloud Shell to you guys. To open it in a new page, you can click on open a new tab. So it will open in a new tab. Okay. And you can close off this one. So you see guys, this one here, open editor. So this will create a, this will also open a folder like a, you can select a folder or anything on the storage. Okay. Okay, now let's say I want to create a directory here, create local directory, data something. And I want to just open that folder. Okay. And you guys know how to create a file, etc. Let me upload some text files from my local to this ECS cloud. Say I want to upload this file, file.py. You can drag and drop them to this folder. So file would be automatically uploaded like this. Okay, so while dealing with the GCS, it's very important for us to know the Google GCS CLI commands. So now we will do a few of the hands-on to how to interact with the GCS buckets using Cloud Shell. Okay. The first thing is, so it has by default set a project for you guys, but if the project is not set, you need to set a project. So how do you set a project? It would be gcloud config set project, and you can specify the project name. Okay, so this is how you set a project, guys. So by default, when you are working for a company, right, there would be multiple projects created for you, like for dev, QA, UAT, or a prod. You need to set a project to access those particular resources. Okay. Now I want to list all the buckets which are available for me. So when you're working with a GCS bucket, you need to use a GSUtil. GSUtil is a library available to you to interact with the GCS buckets. You can select GSUtil and you can specify ls. So it will list all the buckets that you have access to in that particular project. Okay. So GSUtil ls by default lists all the buckets. Now, if you want to list all the contents of that particular bucket, what are the files that are available, you can just specify GSUtil ls and the folder name. So this is the file which is uploaded there, right? Which is listed. Now, if you want to upload any particular file to GCS bucket, what you need to do, you need to use GSUtil CP and select the file name, GSUtil CP, then select the file name that you want to upload to and provide the GCS bucket. So you need to specify the source. The source could be a file that you want to upload to, and then the destination. Let's say I want the file to be uploaded to some sample folder. Okay, sample And you can also specify what is a file name that you want to give. I want to upload this file, but I want to give a different name. So what I could do is test.py. So what it does is it will copy the file.py.txt to this particular file, test.py. If you go to your GCS bucket, you need to just refresh it here. You will see the folder automatically created. Since it's a blob storage, it will automatically create the folder for you guys. Okay. So you could see the file created. You can see the time, etc., all these details. And if you want to download this file, you can just select the file. And if you want to delete the file, you can also delete from here. So now if I want to list a file, you can just do gsutil ls. That will list the file name. If you want to list the contents of that particular file, like not a content, but if you want to list all the attributes of that particular file, you can select gsutil -l. It will specify the timestamp when it was created and what is the size of that particular object. Okay, so I mentioned to guys about the versioning, right? We'll try to understand that now more. So let's say I want to, you can also download the file from GCS to your local. What you need is you can specify gsutil cp and file name. And let's say I want to download to test.py again. So I'm specifying the GCS file as the part of the file as a source and test.py as my local file name. Okay. So it will download the file. So you see here now. So the print hello world is here. I'm updating the file. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I just want to re-upload the file to the same file name, test.py, and it will upload this test.py to the same file name. And then when you are listing it, when you specify a as an additional flag while listing the file name, it will list all the versions that are available. Okay, you see this one, right? Each version is associated with a timestamp like this. In this way, GCS keeps all the versions for you. If you want to get this particular file, you could do this. It is, we have uploaded a new file, but you will still be able to get an older version of the file. That's how object versioning happens in GCS. Any questions still here? Okay. And GCS, there are multiple options. If you want to create a bucket as well, you can use gsutil mb. The mb stands for make bucket. You can specify gsutil mb and the bucket name. It will create a bucket for you guys. And you can also copy the file from one bucket to another bucket, gsutil cp, and I want to copy this particular file to new bucket. You can specify this bucket as a destination and data something. This file would be copied. There would be some more options. Let's say you want to upload a folder, you can specify -r, which stands for how to stand for recursively. You are asking to recursively copy all the file from local to GCS. You can specify gsutil cp -r. And there is one more option which is called as -m as well. You specify gsutil m -m cp -r. When you say -m is you want to do a multi-copy. That means multiple files can be sent by in parallel to the GCS so that the data would be copied faster. So that's about the GCS, guys. So creating the files, etc. So I would request you guys to message these things here. These are a few of the activities I would say. You guys can work on this, create a bucket, list a bucket, and how to list the versions, copy file, etc. Once you do this hands-on, you'll be able to get more hands-on and understand GCS in depth. In the next class, we'll discuss, we have now seen how to use a CLI interface to interact with the GCS. There also Python, you can use a Python as well to interact with GCS. We'll see that in the next session. Okay. That's all for today, guys. Any questions?
No, Mitan.
Okay.
Mitesh,
You
I have
got
one
one?
question.
Yeah.
What are all the prerequisites we need before attending this data? Like we need to be more predominant in SQL or Python? Like that, I'm asking. In which area we should be familiar?
Python and SQL, you need to be good with them. Okay.
Oh,
At least in any one of them, you should be very strong.
okay,
And second one, you need to know it.
okay, okay,
Okay. Earlier, the SQL guys would be different and Python guys would be different. But now, as a data engineer, you need to be strong with both.
okay, okay.
Are we good then, guys? Okay, we'll end the session now here. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Thank you.